Now, a little earlier, I mentioned that there's some text that's really easy to change in the interface. I'm going to jump back to the browser here, like this one here. But others are more complex. So this submitted by, and then the name of the user, and then on, and the date it was created is going to be a lot trickier because it contains variables. While this submitted by is consistent throughout every time this is posted, the date is going to be different and the user could be different as well. So in order to understand how to look for this text inside of our interface so we know what original text to override with our new text, we need to understand a little bit about the T function. Now we cover the T function in other videos pretty thoroughly, but I'll talk you through the basics really quick here so you understand how we're going to look for text. So what I'm going to do here is look for some text that's unique to this, that's not variable. So this submitted by is pretty close. I'm actually going to include the space after the by as well. Now I'm going to jump to my editor where I can do a site-wide search, and you could use a command line tool called grep to do this as well. And I'm going to search my entire site for this particular string. And now it's searching through everything, and it finds a couple instances. So we have this variable submitted, and then here's our T function, and it says submitted by username on date time. So even if you don't understand the T function yet, you can still get a sense that this model here is probably what we're looking for. So with the T function, the first parameter that's passed to it is the string, and it includes any placeholders that need to get replaced with dynamic content. This is so that when people create translations of this content, they can just translate the text around the variable pieces and simply use the same placeholders for the dynamic parts. And then the next parameter in the T function is a set of replacement values for the placeholders. So our username here is going to be the author. The date time is going to be the date it was created. So now when we replace the text, this is the text that we're going to replace. And if we want the username and date time to be pulled in as well, we just need to make sure to include these placeholders too. Now if you look at our search results, we actually have two matches for this. We have this one up here and this one down here, which is identical. But if we look at the source files for these, this one is in the comment.module file, and this one is in the node.module file. So the text that we were looking at changing was below our node title, so chances are it's associated with the node module. But because the text here is the same in both places, it means that if we override this text, it's going to override it everywhere that it's used. So it will also change in our comment.module file. This is one implication of using string overrides, and it would happen too with our previous override. Anytime we use the term navigation with that capital N, and that's the only part that is getting translated, then that's going to be translated now into site menu. Okay, so let's go ahead and override this. I'm going to open up one of these files so we can copy the text, and I'm going to go ahead and copy the submitted by everything in this first parameter. So submitted by username on date time. And I'm going to jump back to my global settings file, and I'm going to create a new entry here. And for the first parameter, we'll put the original text, and then we'll assign it the new text. And we're just replacing it with written by the amazing username around date time. Okay, I'm going to save this, and I'm going to jump back to our site and refresh it. And now we see our change here, written by the amazing admin around, and then the date. Now let's go ahead and work through one more example. Here at the bottom, we have our powered by Drupal. Now because there's a link in here, we don't want to do a search for powered by Drupal inside of our site folder because this instance isn't going to turn up. What's being translated here includes a link. So just like we did a search before for the terms submitted by, we're going to do a search here for the terms powered by. So I'm going to copy this text, and I'm going to include that extra space at the end. And I'm going to jump back to the browser and do a site-wide search for this text. And we have a few results. So here it says powered by Drupal, but we know that we have a link involved somewhere, so that's probably not it. Down here at the bottom, we have a powered by, and then ahref equals powered by Drupal. Okay, so this looks right. So in this case, we're using another placeholder, but instead of it being dynamic text, it's simply some text that we don't need to change from one translation to another. So we're pulling it in as a placeholder. So if we want to change this, let's go ahead and navigate to it so we can copy the text. And I'm just going to copy it here. Everything in this first parameter. And then I'm going to jump back to the global settings.php file. And I'm going to paste in the value as the key. And I'm just replacing it with what rhymes with Drupal. And I'm going to save it and jump back to the browser and refresh. Now we've replaced this text. Let's go ahead and complete this by pulling in our changes that we've made to our global settings.php file into version control. So I'm going to jump back to the command line, and I'm going to make sure I'm on the development server, and I'm going to do a quick git status. Okay, we have our modified file here, and again, we have our module that we haven't added to version control yet. Let's go ahead and add this to staging. So I'm going to do git add, and then the path to the settings.php file. And then let's go ahead and do a commit. And my message here is added string overrides to global.settings.php file. I'm going to hit enter to commit it. And then let's go ahead and push this to the remote. Okay, so now we're synced up with the remote.